Alright, I want to make sure everything is running correctly. It says that we're streaming, but I want to be 100% sure. Checking over here on YouTube. Alright, we are cool, and we're live, and we're working. Awesome. Alright, so my name is Tristan Goodwin, and just in case you guys were curious, today I was one of the panelists for the Proz.com What Makes a Great Profile training thing, and I kind of felt like I wanted to go into a little bit more detail about some of the things that I had mentioned during the panel, and I figured this would be a good way to do it, especially since I had a whole bunch of people come over to the YouTube channel after doing this. So before I get too far into this, I did want to let you guys know that this channel primarily focuses these days on like building websites and building businesses online. It does still have some of that translator touch, but it's not the primary focus anymore. However, we are actually working on a brand new channel that we're going to be starting here over the next few weeks, maybe a month or two, and it's actually really cool. I'm really excited about it. I have a whole bunch of other experts who are going to be coming in and helping out. So we're going to be talking about things like building websites on several different platforms. So we're going to be talking a lot about Weebly. We're going to be talking a lot about WordPress. I have some people coming in who are going to be helping us with making YouTube videos, for example, like how to tell a story with a YouTube video, how to sell your services using video. We're also going to have somebody come in who's going to talk about branding and all kinds of neat stuff. Really excited about it. So if you guys would like to learn more about that, then stay tuned to this channel. If you're already subscribed, then that's probably because you are already wanting to do that. But you can also check out our blog, and I'll put a link to that in the description as soon as this video goes up. Actually, I'll stick it in the chat real quick too, just in case anybody comes in and sees it in the meantime. Hopefully you'll be able to see it. It's www.opl10nt9n.com. That's OP localization and translation. So that's that part. Now, what we wanted to talk about today, and I hope that my other viewers will find this useful as well, we're actually going to be talking about something that we call a parasite ranking. Now, a parasite ranking is when you rank a page from another website that has really good metrics for a keyword that you want to rank for, and then you use that traffic, use that ranking to send people back to your website or to your whatever, to you, okay? And we can actually do that with Proz.com, and this is one of the things that I was trying to get at, but again, we didn't have a lot of time and we didn't have specific questions that really had to do with that. So let me show you this real quick. This is my website, okay? This is my translation website. It is tagtranslations.com, and it's pretty cool. We actually built this in Weebly, and I like it. And so one of the ways that we get traffic to this website is I actually send people from my Proz.com profile back over here. Now, you don't necessarily have to do it this way, but you certainly can. I think this is probably the best way to do it because this is something that you control 100%. But at the same time, you can just use your own Proz profile as like your website. So let's head over here real quick. This is my Proz.com profile, and there are a few things that I want to show you guys on here. So the first thing I want to show you guys is I want to go into a little bit more detail about what I was talking about as far as metrics. So we're going to go over to another website real quick. This is moz.com, and I'll throw a link to this in the description too once it goes up. And you can see we already have Proz.com in here. So what this does is it shows us the metrics or the authority that we assume that a website has based on a few different factors. So the main factor that these particular sites look at is the number of backlinks that they have. Now, a backlink is when you have one website that places a link to another website. Okay? It's linking back to your website. And the number and the quality of backlinks that you have is one of the determining factors in where you actually rank on Google or on sometimes on YouTube, but Bing and Yahoo and all those other platforms and search engines. And so if you want to capture some of that traffic, then one of the things that you need to do is you need to make sure that your own metrics are high enough, that you have enough authority and you have enough clout with Google in order to show up on that first page and to show up relatively high in the search rankings so you can capture that traffic. And so for most people, for most websites, this is going to be a 1 and this is going to be a 1 out of 100. So that's really low. That means it's going to be very difficult to rank for those particular keywords. Now, because Proz already has actually has some pretty good metrics already, then what we can do is we can use our Proz profiles, get them to rank in Google, and then we send that traffic back over to our websites, or we just keep it there and we turn those people into clients. So let's take a look at that really quickly. the first thing we want to do is we're going to come over here to our Proz profile. We're going to click over here where it says Edit. And we're going to make a few changes right off the bat. There's a few things I want you guys to take a look at really quickly. So this is the first thing you're going to see. The first thing you want to do is your tagline. So you want to make sure that this is going to be whatever keyword that you want to target. And we're going to talk about keywords here in just a second, but make sure that you're working with your tagline. Make sure that you are uploading your CV or your portfolio or whatever, because this is going to give people more things to look at, and it's also going to give Google more information about you and about your profile and your skills. The place that we really want to look, though, is we want to come down here to where it says Search Engine Optimization. And this part is important. So, trying to think the best way to explain this. Your website is a can of food. Yeah, okay, I like that one. So, think of your website like one of those aluminum or one of those tin cans of food, okay? You know that there's content in there. You can feel it. You can feel it sloshing around. But until you open it, you can't actually tell what's in there. And once you open it, you've kind of made your decision. You have to eat whatever's inside, right? So a website is basically a can of food, okay? Google knows that there's content in there, but Google also knows that people are looking for specific kinds of food, okay? You just want canned pears, okay? You don't want canned peaches. You don't want canned nectarines. You don't want canned oranges. You just want canned pears. So how do you find out which of these cans just has pears in it, right? You look at the label. It's pretty simple. You look and you read it and you try and figure, and it will tell you what's inside the can. And that's exactly what we're doing here. So your title tag is basically saying, hey, this is a can of pears. This is a Spanish translator in Utah, okay? Your keywords do the same thing. These describe your content. You can almost think of these like the ingredients for your can of website, all right? So in here they gave you some information as far as keywords. I kind of think that it says right here to provide individual keywords. I don't know if that's really the best way to do it. Personally, I prefer doing what's called a long-tail keyword, where instead of just having an individual word, you have an actual phrase, or you have a series of words that have to do with whatever it is that you do. Because you have to remember, we're talking about robots here, okay? And we're talking about math. So if a robot comes in and says, hey, one of the ingredients for this particular web page is, or one of the things that this web page is about is Portuguese, say, okay, so this is about Portuguese. This is about Spanish. This is about computers. This is about technology. That's fine. I mean, Google can kind of guess what that means. Or you could put something like Spanish Translator Utah. That's something people are actually looking for. You can put video game translators. You can put English to Spanish translation and things like that, because those are things that people are actually going to be searching for. So if you are looking for a specific ingredient and you find that ingredient, then you know that you found whatever it is that you're looking for. You're good. So that's the reason that I prefer these long tail keywords, and usually they work a little bit better. And the other problem with this, and I'll show you these in just a second, but single keywords like this have a lot more competition. They have a lot of searches, but they have so much competition that it's really, 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 really difficult to rank for them, if not impossible. So the longer your keyword is, the more detailed your keyword is, the better. And you can even look at keywords that show what's called buyer intent. So you can just be looking for Spanish to English translation, but somebody could be looking to translate, I don't know, a text message. They could be looking for the translation of a song lyrics or something like that. But if you put in something like professional Latin American Spanish to US English translators located in whatever, then you know that whoever's searching for that, they are looking for you. They are looking to pay somebody to do a translation. So that's pretty cool. And that's a good long tail keyword. The other thing that we want to take a look at is we want to make sure that our URL is in the correct format. Now typically we'd leave this in like the profile format, but that's not always going to be the best thing. So one of the things that I would suggest is that you look at using one of these other options, because again, we're kind of telling Google what it is that we're talking about. In this particular case, I'm a translator, so I want to make sure that translator is in my URL. Hey buddy, thanks. Or the same thing if you're an interpreter. So, just something to keep in mind. And so we're going to be doing that. Now, one of the things that I want to talk about real quick is just the keywords, okay? So what's a keyword? How do we find good keywords and the like? I like using this tool right over here. This is kwfinder.com, and I will stick a link to this in the chat. This is an awesome tool. This will help you with YouTube videos, ranking websites, ranking all kinds of crazy stuff. And this will also give us some really, really valuable information as far as the keywords that we're going to be targeting. All right. So one of the things that they were talking about on there is saying, just picking the language that you want to rank for or whatever. So let's just put Spanish in here. Let's see how much competition there is. Spanish competition. So we have 165,000 searches per month, and it has a competition rating of 60 out of 100, which is ranked as hard. We can see who's currently ranking for that, and ranking for just the word Spanish is not going to be easy. Okay, and the other problem with this is if somebody's ranking for Spanish, or if somebody puts Spanish into their search engine, what exactly does that they're looking for? Are they looking for Spanish tutorials? Are they looking for Spanish classes? Are they looking for a Spanish tutor? Are they looking for Spanish videos? Are they looking for a Spanish translator? Are they looking for Google Translator? There's a lot of different things here that we need to keep in mind. Whew. Okay, so what we like to do then is we like to look for long tail keywords, longer keywords that are more specific to what it is that we're actually doing. And we can come down here, we can look through this list and see if there's anything else that's pretty handy. Teach Me Spanish gets 2,000 searches a month. That's great if you're a Spanish teacher, not if you're a Spanish translator, so we don't want that. So we can come over here and we can put Spanish translator, and that'll focus our searches by a lot, right? So Spanish translator gets 1.5 million searches a month. It's ranked at 56 out of 100. And we can see there's some trends here. We can see who else is ranking for this. So we're getting closer, but we're still not quite there. We're not going to be able to rank for this with any real ease. So let's take a look at some other. Let's look at some other options. Let's say Spanish English translator, which is what I am. Give it a second to load. Okay, so that's a little bit better. We're getting a little bit more focused, and our competition is going down just a little bit. So let's try something else. Let's go US-based Spanish English translator. Okay, so now we're down to a 51. We're at possible. It's not showing us how many searches there are though. Let's see what else we have here. Let's look at some other keywords that might be related. Translation jobs. A lot of people looking for work. That's because they're not setting up their own websites correctly. Spanish translators needed. Okay, so these are all just people looking for work. So let's go ahead and take a look at this keyword for just a second. Now, just looking at it, you say, okay, well, it's not showing us any search traffic, or any search volume. We're not really sure if it's going to be a valuable keyword. But there's a couple things to keep in mind here. First, even if this shows 0 searches per month, that doesn't actually mean that there are 0 searches per month. What they do is they block their search traffic into groups of 10, and then eventually goes into hundreds, and it goes into thousands, and so on. So even though it says 0 searches, that just means that there are less than 9 searches a month, okay, or 9 or fewer. And so even if you're ranking number 1, so you can rank number 1 for this particular keyword, and say there are only 5 searches a month, and say out of those 5 searches, all 5 of them decide to check out your website because you have exactly what it is that they're looking for, and say they're all impressed, say you figure you get 1 of those new customers every month. Okay. That's 1 new customer every month. So after 12 months, you have 12 new customers. Okay. And then it's going to be trends. There's going to be times when there's going to be more searches. There's going to be times when there's fewer searches. So for example, I work a lot in financial translations. And so come tax season, all of my search traffic goes up really, really, really high. In fact, let's put over here. Financial. That's not how you spell financial. There we go. Or maybe finance translator would be better. Okay, it's still not on to show us any, sorry, we'll go ahead and leave it here. So, let's see here. So we have a 36, so that's not going to be hard to rank for. We could probably rank this relatively easily with our parasite page. If we set up all this over here to financial Spanish English translator, I bet we'd be able to rank for this really easily, and then we'd be able to get all this traffic. And again, it's not showing us how many searches there actually are, but I think that it's having some issues. I've actually been noticing this going on with a couple other searches, and there really is traffic for it, so it's something to keep in mind. So you could say financial translators in whatever language pair you work in. And over here we can see, again, how many searches there are. We can see how powerful these other websites are. So SpanishTranslatorServices.com/directory or dictionaries, that's not too bad. So if we come back over here, I showed you guys the Moz already. So we have a domain authority of 74 and a page authority of 59, right? So here's our domain authority and here's our page authority. And unless people are hiding their backlinks, which is totally possible, then these numbers should be relatively accurate. So we should be able to rank a page on here without too much trouble. In fact, here's Proz.com right here. Translation glossary post, English to Spanish, probably. Yeah, English to Spanish right there. And so if we can optimize one of these posts a little bit better, hey, we're on page 1 of Google for Financial Spanish to English Translator. Yay! We get that work. So let's see if there are any other cool terms over here that we're interested in. Let's just say legal translator, Spanish to English. I'm not sure if there's going to be any traffic for this one. Alright, so we have a 38 showing 10 searches a month. When it says 10, it just means that there's less than 20. Okay? So let's see here. Do we have Proz on here at all? Nope, we don't. So this could be a fun keyword for somebody to rank for because look, it's a 38. We do have some high competition websites on here, so like this one and this one. And again, we have to remember that these aren't always going to be 100% accurate. There are a lot of things that will affect these. Oh, and also keep in mind that we're just looking here in the US. If we want to switch this out to anywhere, that traffic's going to go up. Now we're at 20, so we've doubled it. Woohoo! So, like I said, this wouldn't be a hard thing to rank for. And then, again, we have 20 searches, which means we just have less than 30. So it's more than 20, less than 30. We can see the trends right over here. Are you going to show us the numbers? Alright, so it's like 21 right here. But, again, we can use this information. We can rank for those keywords. We can get that traffic, and we can grow our businesses. Now, the nice thing about doing this is that the more traffic that we're able to capture, the more that we're able to do with that, with that traffic, the more money we're going to make. And the more money they make, the more freedom we have. That's why we have so many, what's the word I was going to say? That's why we have so many freelancers, because freelancers want to be free. That's the idea. That's the goal. And so this is one of the really good ways to do that because we're able to capture that traffic. We're able to grow our businesses organically. And it's very, very powerful, especially when you're just getting started and maybe you don't have that many references quite yet. Maybe you don't have, tons of experience, but you're able to still get that traffic, get people looking at your information. And once you get one person, then it's a lot easier to get two. And once you get two, it's a lot easier to get four. And this is how I built my business. So let's head back over here to my profile real quick. And the other thing I wanted to show you guys really quickly is a different way to actually set up your Proz.com profiles. So you can see just right off the bat that this profile looks very different from the standard Proz profile, right? And the way that we did this is actually through another tutorial that I have here on this channel, and I'll leave a link to that in the description as well. But what we did is crap, this microphone's going to drive me nuts. Okay. So what we can do is we can actually include several different parts of HTML code and things like that into our Proz profiles. The easiest way that I know to do this for people who aren't like super tech savvy is actually to use an email template, and you can get that from like MailChimp or something like that, and then you just fill in your information. So if somebody visits my profile, then they get the information about my wife and I, they get to see my logo right up here, they get to watch a cool little video about my company, and we get to see what tools we use, and then all of our social profiles. So again, really handy, and this also helps you to rank higher because you're able to add in more of those keywords in a natural way. Now when you're writing out your About Me sections on anything or any sort of place where you're going to be adding text, you want to make sure that you don't put in too many of your keywords all at the same time, because you can actually over optimize your page and you'll get penalized for it. So generally speaking, the rule of thumb is to use a 1 to 100 ratio. For every 100 words, you use your keyword once. I would also suggest that you guys focus on just one keyword, maybe two when you're first getting started, because it's going to be a lot easier to focus on those keywords and make sure that you're doing everything right. And then eventually you can start creating other properties like your own website, like your Facebook page and things like that, in order to rank for those other keywords as well. So that is that. And like I said, I'll leave a link to how we actually built this. So I guess the next big question is this stuff really worth doing? I mean, is this worth the work? Is it worth the effort and everything else? So I started my freelance career in September of 2011. So it's actually been 5 years, almost 5 years exactly. It was the 21st was the day that I officially started, or the day that I left my in-house job. I was working for Toyota before. Aware of how the translation world worked, I was relatively happy to get paid 3 cents a word for my translation time and skills, and that kind of was awful. And as I started working and trying to find ways to make more money, to grow my business, to find more customers, by the time I by the time I started my sabbatical at the beginning of this year, then I was actually charging 30 cents per word, which is pretty good. I mean, that's not something to be too upset about. So charging 10 times as much, I actually had a relatively steady flow of work. Whenever I wanted new work or when I wanted new projects, then I could get it really, really quickly and easily. And we did that through our website. We did that through email lists and things like that. But we also did it because we were able to bring in more customers. We were able to start being more choosy and picky with the customers that we took on. And by doing that, we were able to start charging more because there's a demand for our services. There's a demand for us. And again, that makes a really, really big difference when you're first getting started. And even once you're established, the more demand that there is for something, the higher the price goes. That's just the way that it works because there's only one of you. Okay, the supply is always going to remain the same. So like I said, I was charging 30 cents per word at the end of last year before I started my sabbatical. And that was for financial documents, which again are relatively easy because you're mostly just translating numbers. But we were also able to charge that much for video game translation. We're actually able to charge as much or more than agencies because people knew about us, they knew about our skill, and they knew about us, they found out about us because of our rankings, because they were able to find us online because we were visible. And that's really one of the big keys. And I think that's one of the problems that we have in the translation industry right now is that translators are taught or told that they need to be invisible, that it's the agency's job to go out and do all the marketing. It's the agency's job to interact with the customer. You don't talk with the customer because that's not your job. Your job is to translate. We're not employees. We're business owners. We can talk to our customers. And if you're happy working with agencies, work with agencies. If you want direct clients, though, this is the way that you do it. And again, the idea is to pull that organic traffic from Google, from Bing, from these other search engines, and put them on your properties. We want people looking at you. We want you to be visible. And again, like I said, this has made a huge difference in my career. It's made a huge difference in the translators I've mentored. This is the number one thing that I encourage them to do, is to make themselves as visible as possible. And they're seeing a lot of positive results from it as well. A lot of people who are making full-time incomes translating video games, which is the main thing that I was teaching people how to do. And so this is effective. This does work. And it works for a lot of people. This is like the main thing that you should do whenever you start up your own business. So that's the reason that we've been working on this, and that's what I wanted to touch a little bit more on after the panel this morning. Because like I said, I kind of felt like I wasn't able to give you guys as much information about this as I wanted to. So that's how we do it. This is how you set up your parasite rankings. And again, you can use the same tactic and the same techniques you can use it for LinkedIn, you can use it for the translationdirectory.com, you can use it for Translator Cafe, you can use it for whatever directory site you want that you have a profile on. So pretty darn cool. Let me show you one last other thing real quick. So if you do a search for for my company here, Translation Companies in Logan, Utah, that's where I live, then you get this nice big old thing right here that says, hey, Tag Translations and Design, that's all of us. We are #1. So it really does work, and it really is pretty powerful. The other thing I wanted to show you guys real quick, just to let you guys know you can do this, is you can also include a backlink. So like we were talking at the beginning about how Proz has lots of backlinks, you can actually get a backlink from Proz to your website, and you do that just by adding in your a link to whatever it is that you want to link out to. So in this particular case, I'm doing it for a video that I released a little while ago. So we're gonna go ahead and copy this real quick. And so if you click on this right here, it'll take you over to YouTube. But what's neat about it is if we come over here and do a search for best SEO in the universe, hey, that's us, #1, great big huge thumbnail. So it's very easy to tell who the best SEO in the universe is, because that's us. And you can see we're actually beating 64,300,000 other websites for this keyword. And so yeah, you can see all these best SEO in the universe is Tristan Goodwin. Tristan Goodwin, this is actually one of my websites, and you can see a lot of these will say Tristan Goodwin because people like me. And here is my Facebook page. So that's how this works. You can use Proz not only to rank your own websites, but you can also rank these Proz pages so that we can bring in that traffic. And then again, like I said, all you got to do, put a link on here to your website. They push the link, they go over to your website, they can get all your information, the information that you provide, and you just make money. That's how you get work. And so it really is that simple, and I really hope that you guys think about this, and that I hope that you guys decide to do this for yourselves so that way you can build up your own businesses. That's really my goal here, is to help people build businesses, to help you guys make money doing whatever it is that you do by just getting more traffic. And that's the whole goal behind, me being in the panel this morning. That's the goal behind this YouTube channel. That is the goal. And so again, I hope that this information is helpful for you guys. But I am going to eat lunch because it is lunchtime. And so if you guys do have any other questions for me, make sure to leave them in the chat or in the comment section if you guys are watching this after the live stream. And if you prefer to contact me personally, then you can do so. My email address is tristanseo@gmail.com. That is my disposable account because people like to hack things like that, and I prefer to keep that safe. So, yeah, if you guys need anything, you know what to do. I am Tristan from UtahSEO.Ninja. You'll also know me from Tag Translations and Design, and of course OP Localization and Translations. Have yourselves an excellent day, and I will see you guys in the next video. And again, if you're really interested in this translation stuff, keep an eye out for the new channel that we're working on. So yeah, bye!